Hey everybody, welcome back to Nintendo Treehouse Live at E3. I'm Sam, joined by my colleague Vince from our Publisher and Developer Relations team, and I am super excited that right now we're going to take a look at Dauntless for Nintendo Switch. We've got some guests with us here from the Phoenix Labs team, Jesse, Nick, and Chris. Thank you so much for bringing this over. I know y'all have been really busy with development. You got a ways to go, but it's really awesome that you gave us a chance to take an early look at the game here.
Yeah, absolutely. So here today we're showing off Dauntless on Switch for the first time ever. It's hands-on on the show floor. You can jump in, check out a couple of our behemoth hunts. And today we got a special surprise. We're going to debut a brand new behemoth never before seen on stream today.
And we will try to take it down.
And we will try our best.
So as we get started here, for folks who maybe haven't had a chance to check out Dauntless before, what can we tell them about what this game is all about?
Yeah, so Dauntless is a co-op action RPG where you and up to 4 of your friends go on these cooperative hunts and challenge these boss-sized, larger-than-life behemoths that are threatening humanity's survival.
And I think we've got one we can kind of get warmed up on before we tackle the new beastie.
Yeah, we're going to warm up against CHARROGG, which is one of our earlier game behemoths, but not without its own set of challenges. So why don't we hop in here and check it out?
Sweet.
In the full version of Dauntless, you'll be crafting hundreds of different weapons and armor and gear combinations. For the sake of the demo today, we've got a couple pre-built kits here. So I'm going to go with the War Pike, which is a great utility team support weapon.
All right, I really enjoy mobility, so I'm going to grab the chain blades, I think, today.
Awesome. Yeah, no RPG would be complete without lots of character customization options. So when you start your journey in Dauntless, you'll create a Slayer, tailor your appearance with, again, hundreds of different combinations and options.
I will say, when I first started playing the game, I was amazed how long it took me in the character creator. I wasn't expecting to have so many options. This is just like 4 pre-builds, but it's really remarkable that you can make such a personalized take on your Slayer, but then once you get into the game and you reach the Ramsgate City area, you can actually customize again. It's not like you're locked into one look.
Yeah, one of the things we really wanted to kind of nail when we started development was making sure that players felt like they could be whoever they wanted to be in the world. And you change over time, so we wanted to make sure that players also are able to change what they look like over time as well.
So,
with so much content already here, how is this game free to play?
That's a great question. We don't really think about kind of the free-to-play model as, something that you should have a little bit of content or a lot of content. We really focus on delivering, the best experience to players that we possibly could. And, in a game like this, having lots of behemoths, lots of weapons, lots of ways to interact with the game is really important to us. And so, we've been building the game now for about 4 years. And, we keep kind of layering on and trying to add more and more content as we go. And we're also basically adding new behemoths, new weapons consistently. We're patching every 2 weeks. And the next big kind of jump for us is to bring the game to Switch, where we can get even more awesome players in. So
that's awesome.
All right, so heading into a CHARROGG hunt, one thing I think that's really interesting about how you jump into combat in this game, there's not a class system. It's choosing a weapon based on the behemoth that you're going to fight. You have the freedom to adjust your loadout every time you go in. But then there's a lot you can do to customize your loadout to really fill a role on your team if you want to, or really optimize your playstyle one direction or another. But there's a lot of flexibility there.
Yeah, absolutely. We didn't really want players to feel like they had to make a static choice with the way that they wanted to play, and we want, again, with the kind of the idea of being whoever you want to be within the game. The weapon kind of provides a baseline for kind of how you want to interact with the game world, but then there's even more deeper customization inside there. So like each weapon, for example, has multiple types of customization inside of it. There's different powers that they each have. On top of that, as you continue to progress through the mastery system, which is kind of like a leveling system in the game, and an achievement system, you start unlocking new other customizations. So, for example, if we were playing Axe, one of the moves with the Axe is to actually throw it. And you can customize that to, so normally it comes back to you after you've thrown it. What you can do is you can actually take a mod that takes away the kind of the boomerang effect and makes it do a lot more damage.
And I love that depth of combat and just that flexibility because, as an axe user, you would think you're kind of locked into just melee, but the ability to have a little bit of ranged for the strategy, right? That's amazing.
Yeah, absolutely. So we're right now we're fighting CHARROGG, so he's the big kind of salamander-looking thing. Fun fact, we actually called him Sally for the longest time because we didn't have a good name for him.
That's cute.
So I'm going to really try not to call him Sally the whole time that we're fighting him.
Oh, he looks like he could be a Sally. He's got that Sally vibe going on. Oh! And he's got a lot of fire.
Oh, I am definitely on fire.
So CHARROGG's a fire behemoth, and so one of the ways that you kind of choose how you want to play is kind of what armor you bring changes your resistances and what powers you have. And so Nick is currently wearing the Ember main armor, which is another fire behemoth's armor. So it's got a lot of fire resistance, which is really good for this encounter. And you can actually see there's kind of some, we just saw some kind of blue puffs there. That's some ice abilities that are, going to be really strong against CHARROGG.
And I love that extra layer strategy with the elemental, put pieces with like ice and try to mix and match, and you feel like all the gear that you're getting is worth something. You're not kind of just replacing and swapping out for the next big thing, right?
Yeah, totally. So, as you can see, he's starting to get kind of cut up. And that kind of shows kind of how the fight is progressing. So, you'll notice that there's no kind of health bars or whatever. We really want players to kind of have a really diegetic experience in the game and really take. You have to pay attention to what's going on. They also wherever those those cuts are local to where there's been where damage has been done. So if you see the tail's been actually pretty cut up, so that means it might actually get cut off pretty soon here if everybody continues to focus on it.
Yeah, I'm gonna try and attack it, get it exposed, open up a weak point for Chris here to maybe cut the tail off.
Yeah, Sally's not playing very nice right now. Jeez.
One of the things that I love about this game as you're getting in here is as you encounter each new kind of behemoth, you really need to pay attention to its movements, its attacks, learn its tells, and figure out, okay, for this behemoth, what does my strategy need to be? And if you've got a team that works really well together, you can really capitalize on those moments where you're going to have a little bit of an opening or you're able to do a little bit more damage to the behemoth, especially for certain parts. And in terms of kind of focusing certain areas of the behemoth and building up your strategy, we should probably talk a little bit about the different colors of damage numbers that folks are seeing on the screen here.
Yeah, absolutely. So in the case of the Warpike is unique because it actually does 3 different types of damage. It does normal damage, which is white, and then it also does what's called piercing damage. And piercing damage is really interesting because the more piercing damage you do, the more likely you are to expose an area on the behemoth. And when an area is exposed, other players can come and now do other players can come and do more damage to that area. And then you'll see the yellow damage there, that's slashing damage. So that's your basic kind of like, it cuts off pieces, it does more damage to parts, and changes kind of how the loot table will go. So, as you do more slashing damage to an area, you'll break a part. And as you break parts, that will change the actual loot table that these behemoths drop. And as it goes with loot, the basic premise is you're saving these islands from these behemoths, but also at the same time you're taking kind of the pieces of the behemoth to make more new armor with them. And so you're kind of constantly trying to kill bigger behemoths so that you can get better armor, so that you can kill more, even bigger behemoths.
Yeah, and I know this is a kind of, for the sake of the demo, consolidated to just the behemoth, but I love the world that you created for all the biomes and just how it attributes to each behemoth.
Yeah, so right now we're in kind of a desert biome, which is, obviously very kind of blaze or fire oriented. The next biome I think we're going to see is going to be the ice one, and each has different properties. They have different layouts and kind of different kind of thematics that really try and help sell it. On top of that, the types of things that you gather in each biome are going to be very different. And so, the consumables, which is that area on the bottom right there, which are the various things that you can bring to a fight to kind of further customize your experience, all of those are generated through the gathering system. We don't have any of that in the demo, just to kind of keep things moving quickly. But as a Slayer, what you'll end up doing is let's say if you want a special type of grenade, you're going to want to go and grab some various gatherables within the island. kind of while you're fighting the behemoth.
Right.
And it is interesting. I mean, for some of the combat, finding the behemoth in the first place is going to be part of the challenge because you've got
there we go. Got
a
the
big
tail.
territory that it could be hanging out in. So once you actually find it, you can toss up a flare, let the rest of your team know, okay, fine, I found it. Come here, stop collecting stuff. We gotta go to work.
Yeah, and we're also, as you just saw, like the behemoth kind of fell over there. That was kind of one of those breaks, and so, one of the things that kind of just popped up on the left side of the screen was that those break parts changing the loot table there and getting kind of some rare loot.
So for folks who haven't played Dauntless before, we should probably spend a little bit of time going over the HUD here and what folks are seeing on the screen. Because
Yeah,
we've got a lot of helpful information going on here.
Absolutely. So I talked a little bit about the bottom right corner, so that's your various consumables that you can bring. On the top left, that's your standard health bar plus a stamina bar. So each move takes stamina to do, and you kind of got to manage your stamina. Below that, in Nick's case, that's basically a charge bar. So each weapon has a different kind of set of abilities that it can do. And in the case of the Warpike, as you're hitting the behemoth, you're going to charge up, you're going to basically take either Aether from the behemoth and store it in your...
Hey! There we go.
Awesome, you guys did it. So yeah, you're going to take all that Aether from it, and you're going to charge up the blade, and then as long as you don't get hit, you can then kind of plug it in and then do some special moves with it. Anyways, do you want to talk a little bit about the next stuff there, Nick?
Yeah, so we're going to jump into one more hunt. We're going to check out a brand new behemoth never before seen. His name is Winterhorn SKRAEV. We've been working on him for a couple of months now. He's definitely one of the more challenging behemoths in the game. As you saw, things like pixel-perfect dodges, high-fidelity combat, very tactical feel in the game, super important to us. So we're no strangers to challenge in our game. And yeah, we're going to give him a go, see how we do, and see how things go.
Right on. So any tips as we head into Winterhorn SKRAEV?
Yeah, so
Dodge.
Dodge is great. Dodge is your best friend. Don't get hit. He's going to drop these winter totems that are going to create blizzards that'll obscure our field of view, so we're definitely going to want to jump on those as quickly as we can. If you find yourself get frozen, you're going to want to mash the dodge button to break free. If you see one of your allies who's frozen, you can knock them free by hitting the ice off of them as well.
Sounds good. While we're getting ready to load into this new behemoth, during the normal gameplay cycle, what we'd have done after that is pick up all the gear that we picked up from that behemoth and then head back to Ramsgate. And there's a lot of really awesome stuff that you can do there for your character in terms of progressing different quest lines, interacting with artisans, craftspeople. We should probably talk a little bit about that since folks who are watching won't have a chance to see Ramsgate in action here.
Yeah. So basically, you called it out. Like, there's a whole bunch of it's kind of the Ramsgate is a social hub for us, and so as you go back, it's where you kind of meet up with your friends, where you find your party, get ready to go. The loadout, you go and you craft new weapons, kind of discover the quests and stuff like that, and ultimately is where you interact with the story of the game as well. And so we want to give players kind of a space where they kind of can feel comfortable with expressing themselves and who they are in the game world, and that's what Ramsgate's all about.
I was so impressed when I first got there, just how much potential it feels like there is in that city with so many colorful characters and just the environment itself. I think the first time I ended up in Ramsgate, I just wandered off. I wasn't ready to talk to anybody yet. I was like, I'm going to go explore over here, and I ended up in a sewer system, and I found a really cute turtle, and I was like, okay, I guess I should talk to the other people first. But I was having so much fun just jumping around this city and exploring it.
Yeah, there's so that Hector's name is that turtle's name is Hector.
Oh,
actually.
Hector! Hector's adorable.
Also, there's a guild in the game called the Roof Rams, and they've been around since the earliest betas. And these players they're feverish about making sure that they can get to every corner, and have given us a lot of great feedback on how to best make that a fun experience for them.
That's
so
awesome.
Shout out to the Roof Rams.
Hi.
Yeah.
You look big and stumpy and scary.
So, Winterhorn SKRAEV is actually an old behemoth that we had in the game for a while that we actually removed, and we wanted to redo from scratch. And so, some players will be familiar kind of with some of his moveset, but we basically took him back into the lab, redid the model, redid all the gameplay elements, and made him a whole lot harder.
He's very mobile right off the bat, just seeing how much he's using the space and moving around. Just being able to pin him down.
I was going to say, SKRAEV is hard enough, man. Jeez.
So he's basically a mobile control behemoth. So a lot of what he does is controls the battlefield. So you'll start to see soon he leaves mines on the ground. He throws up walls all over the place that you have to kind of manage. And then pretty soon he'll also start to throw those totems down, which slow you down, do damage. And if you don't basically kind of keep on top of it, the fight's going to snowball pretty poorly.
Oh, snowball.
Nice dad joke
I
there,
see what
Jesse.
you did there. Oh, okay,
looks
so
like
we've got
he's
the visibility effect
totem
going
up here.
Where do you go?
So the
Got
interesting
it.
part of these totems is that, as you guys are having to focus on it, he's still hanging around doing his business. And so, it gets really tough once he gets one or two of those things going out.
So in terms of equipment, we've talked a little bit about weapon customization, talked about armor, but another really important part of a Slayer's loadout that we haven't touched on is the lantern.
Fox is kind of the lantern expert on the team.
Yeah, I'm gonna try to not die.
Good luck.
We talk about that. So we've rolled a few different lanterns into the presets for the demo, but that's something that you're going to be able to fully customize. As you hunt and as you craft things from the different behemoths. Right now, I have an Embermane lantern, which leaves these giant mines essentially that explode after a set amount of time. Some of the other ones we have for the demo are we have the Skarn lantern, which has a damaging kind of shield around you. We have Draft lantern, which lets you shoot a gigantic lightning bolt. So 1 second here.
So one of the things that the lanterns do is they kind of embody the behemoth that they were made from. So, while the armor and the weapons kind of call back to them, so, for example, the Embermane armor is very good against fire, we really wanted to kind of give the players an opportunity to have something that really, screams the behemoth.
Be the behemoth almost, and use one of their signature attacks.
So Drask is that, if you remember back to the start screen that we showed earlier, he's that kind of big green lizard, and his kind of key abilities, he shoots these kind of like sniper laser beams. And so the Drask Lantern, when you activate it and you build up charge with it, then gives you that ability to shoot those kind of laser beams and do kind of very Drask-oriented things. So Nick, as you can see there, is stuck. And the ideal there is that he gets out of that thing, or another player can come and rescue him out of that in order to escape.
I need rescuing again.
Like he's protecting that Aether vein down there.
Yeah, and I was underneath him, which was not great.
I'll grab that totem.
All right.
So he was actually around that Aether vein. Those Aether veins are really interesting and unique. So one of the core mechanics around healing is generally to use consumables, but when you're out of consumables, you can then use the Aether veins, which is that kind of blue, kind of little rocky formation that's got some wispies coming out of it.
And worth mentioning, it's limited use, so you don't want to be the jerk who hogs the vein.
Exactly.
Sadly, that's me almost all the time. That's why none of these guys play with me at work. Now, the cool thing about those Aether veins is that's also what feeds the behemoth. So now the demo, basically, the behemoths will stay in the same area, but in the main game, they'll basically run off to heal. And when they do, they kind of claw up. They kind of go and find a vein of Aether, and they claw it up out of the ground, and they start to heal themselves. And players can take advantage of that as well, which is kind of gives this interesting kind of push-pull mechanic of, you want to force the behemoth away from them for as soon as you can, but at the same time, when they run away, that gives you an opportunity to kind of heal up, get ready, and do some gathering. So you want to really kind of manage how much time you're spending away from the behemoth.
Speaking of management, I am not managing my stamina very well here. Ooh.
Whoa. So we touched a little bit on the free-to-play model, and right now you are in Season 5, the Hidden Blade season. So folks who are down for some ninja action, there's some awesome kind of ninja-themed stuff going on in the game. But I think it's really nice that you've got a couple of different progressions as you go through seasons with the Hunt Pass. So folks can just enjoy that free-to-play experience, or if they want to, they can bump up to Elite to get a bit of a different progression system through the game.
Yeah, so how we monetize is largely around customization and kind of what we call personalization. So the idea of how you express yourself, and you might kind of be getting a kind of a theme here. We really want Dauntless to be all about expressing yourself, and so the Hunt Pass is a big reflection of that. So a Hunt Pass is kind of very similar to a Battle Pass that you might see in other games, where you as you do actions in the game and as you play the game a whole bunch, you'll be unlocking new tiers and new levels. And as you unlock those, you get new customizations, you get some currency, you get other great stuff, some consumables, and it's all about kind of reflecting kind of your actions in the game.
Oh.
I just
This
love
guy
that
is
it adds like
fun.
an extra layer of personalization to your point, right? You're of course gearing up for the hunt and the fight, but you can also, fight in style.
Totally. So it's starting to get a little hairy here. Everybody's running out of potions.
We got this.
The danger
And
meter's getting high.
unfortunately, we're also running out of time, so I don't know if we're going to be able to take this guy down in the time we've got.
Yeah, as you can see at the top right corner there's the danger meter. So the danger meter is basically a reflection of how scared the airship captain, the guy who brought you to the island, is feeling. And so as that kind of ticks up, so it's 63% now, but basically as players get downed, now it's 72%, everybody's kind of taking a lot of damage. So when that hits 100%, you're no longer able to revive your teammates. And it starts to get into kind of a death, not a death match,
Do or die.
A do or die kind of scenario.
Oh, I'm trying to res you. I'm trying. There we
So
go.
81, so it's getting really kind of hairy here now, and you can start to see there's a bunch of damage on the behemoth as well, so it really is, coming down to the wire here.
And that's unfortunately about all the time we've got for today, so I don't know if we're going to be able to show off taking down this behemoth, but you're actually going to make this available on the show floor today, right? So people can try it out for themselves.
So everyone on the show floor, if you hit both bumpers and then push in both thumbsticks on the behemoth selection screen, it'll unlock Winterhorn SKRAEV in the demo, and you can check it out for yourself.
Awesome. Well, thank you so much for letting us try this out and bringing this game over. I can't wait to see how it shapes up as you wrap up development. It's just so much fun to play.
So, thanks so much.
Before we wrap up, do you have any last thoughts to share with our viewers?
It's coming to Switch later this year, but we do believe in cross-play and cross-progression. So you can head to Play Dauntless today and start your journey in PC or Xbox or PlayStation 4. And then when it comes out on Switch later this year, you'll be able to bring your progress into the Switch version as well.
As somebody who spends a lot of time on the road traveling, being able to bring my Slayer with me is going to be super, super
Same.
helpful.
Yeah.
Super excited for it.
Awesome. Well, thank you again, so guys, so much for coming by, sharing this game with us. Vince, thanks for joining us as well. And folks who are watching, please don't go anywhere. Next up, we're going to be taking a look at Sakuna of Rice and Ruin. Thanks for watching.